I love diversity.
We out here in these streets.
All right. We're back, and I wanted to, in light of talking about diversity in movies and diversity in certain things, and you know, I don't want to always be like, you know. No, but anyways, I don't want to always be coming negative about my topics or always feeling like certain things are a problem. So I wanted to lighten up the show, and I wanted to discuss 5 things I think is great about a diverse society, about diversity, because I know that some of y'all be like, oh, you think I love diversity. I know y'all like, Chris, you not. No, I love diversity. I really understand there is a need for it. I do understand that there is a place for it, but there's just certain things like in movies that it doesn't matter. It's a movie. It's fantasy. It's doesn't matter. But here's 5 things that I wrote down that I think that have worked great, that makes diversity a great thing. One of the reasons why I say that is because if we look at our American society has probably been the fastest growing society in history. It's the greatest society in history. It's the greatest country to live in. America has afforded so many things for people, so many, you know, successes. You know, people flock over here just to be in this country because how great the country is, and the fact that this country has made it so that we're all able to prosper in ways that most countries have not been able to do. So despite anything that anybody has said about in the media, especially now that everybody hates Trump, everybody's saying, anyways, that could be a show. But anyway, since everybody hates them and think that this country is so bad because of its capitalism, we got people like AOC, Alexander Ocasio-Cortez, acting like capitalism is bad and millionaires are bad and billionaires are bad, but these are the people who created all these innovative things that we use, like the iPhone or Microsoft or the Apple computer, the iOS, just all these advancements were made by these millionaires. These millionaires had an idea, they created it, they sold it, they built a large company that employs all of you guys, and now we have a great country for it because there is competition, there is capitalism, supply and demand. So the idea that billionaires and millionaires are evil people, come on, that doesn't make sense, you know. Or greedy people, that doesn't make sense. Of course, people want to keep growing in their finances, want to get richer and richer and make. Now, I don't even think they even do it. Most people don't do it that I've read. Don't do it because they want to get rich. They really do it because they're supplying something that they think the American society wants or needs. But here's what makes it diverse. Here's why we have so many good countries. Think about it. We have so much rich culture. We have Asian culture, Latino culture, Italian, German, African American, African. We just all these cultures that are mixed in that creates this big society of great things. Jazz music, country music, rock music, pop music, folk music, American modern music, all this stuff. American art music, these musicals. I don't believe if we didn't have that level of diversity, we would have such a rich culture. So the first one is productivity. Productivity is one of the most apparent benefits of having a diverse society or being diverse, because diversity in thought, diversity in know-how, diversity in perspective allows, I just alluded to one of them, but diversity allows us to create things and to get things done because we can see different sides of things. Like we even look in our political arena, like how certain communities need certain things, but also other communities look in at it and say, I see it from a different perspective. Like we have how we have so much crime in the black community, but sometimes we can't see it because we're in it. We see it, but we don't really see it because it's almost like it's normal to us in a sense, and that's bad. But somebody from another community kind of see, hey, this is what's going on. I can see this is what it looks like. And then we're able to come up with these different ideas and different solutions to this by the different outlooks on things. So productivity, we're able to create innovative things, cars, electricity. You know how many people are how many different people are not detrimental or instrumental in some of the inventions that we have. You know, different from different backgrounds, having different ideologies, different medical knowledge, different this, you know, pairing some of the tribal remedies with modern medicine. It's just like this stuff, like if we didn't have that diversity, we wouldn't have some of the cures that we have, you know. So productivity is one. The second one is being able to see yourself as a citizen of the world, as a part of a whole. Understanding that racism, when we think diversity, it keeps racism from flourishing. It allows us to see ourselves not as over or beyond, or over or under, but it sees us as a part. It allows us to see us as a part of this whole society. That makes it beautiful, seeing the different types of people sharing different types of experiences. Growth and acceptance, diminishing discrimination, which I kind of touched on, like how diversity allows us to be able to engage with one another, to understand the differences, to understand why you think like this, why do you do this, why is this, like I know, like sometimes I used to have dreadlocks or locks. I'm sorry, I said dreadlocks. That's a habit. It's not called dreadlocks, they're locks. And so many people wanted to touch my hair, and the funny thing was, in a sense, you know, I could have been like most woke black folks and be like, oh, that's racist and this and this and this, don't touch my hair. No. But I understood that this is something new to people outside my race. Like, even when they have locks, it doesn't look like ours. It doesn't feel like ours. So they're fascinated, you know, by it. Like, we're fascinated by things. Like, I'm fascinated by Chinese culture. Like the colors, the dragons, and where the history of it, their fashion and the different things that they wore throughout history. Like, that stuff is fascinating. I don't understand it. So if I see it, I'm going to want to touch it, you know? So it helps me not to be scared of it, but honestly, if I didn't know nothing about a samurai, I would be definitely scared of a samurai. But I understand their purpose and why they're samurais and their code that they live by. And that helps me connect to that, because some things are similar. I believe that diversity allows you to have richer life experiences. And obviously I touched on that a little bit, because I was talking about how we can go out and experience things. If we didn't have diversity in the world, it's like, it would be no point in taking vacation. Just be totally honest. Like, what's the point of going to Amsterdam to see the exact same thing here in America? I remember when I went to Puerto Rico, right? And I was like excited, like, oh man, I get to get some Puerto Rican cuisine and all this stuff, like, you know, just kind of dive into culture. Yes, because, you know, I didn't grow up around that culture. I grew up around black culture. So I wanted to just dive into that culture, you know? And when I got there, I saw McDonald's. I was like, what? You know, so I had to go like around the whole island. I went all over the island just to kind of find authenticity in Puerto Rican cuisine and in the tourist areas. Obviously, they have the touristy stuff, but like, I wanted to get down to the meat of being in that society. It was funny because I went over to Yonsei, and I was driving through there, and I saw that somebody had a horse in their front yard. Now, there was no stables or anything. It was just a horse, a real live horse, standing in the front yard just eating the grass. And I was like, wow. That's different. I know that's weird. That's probably not a cultural thing, because we have horses here in America. But it was just something that I didn't normally see in America. So it definitely brought a little sunshine to my, but I was able to go into hiking in some different caves and seeing the countryside and seeing how a lot of the people lived there. You know, there was, just like in California, you got houses in the side of mountains, but not like in California, because the way they built their houses inside of mountains, I was like, what in the world? I would never live like that. But it was just really a great experience. So diversity allows that. Like, what would be the point of going to Africa if you got to see American this, or China this, or China that? You know, we go there to see the African culture and see the differences in their fashion and their music and their food and how they live and their cities, how they build their cities, how they design their cities. It's all supposed to be unique. That's what diversity does, is Richard's life. And then perspective. Like I was saying earlier, perspective, being able to see things from different points of view. So that kind of blended into my idea of being a citizen of the world, understanding that you're just a part of a whole. Those are just 5 good things that I believe is good about diversity. So it's not all bad. I'm not knocking the idea of diversity. I just don't think it should be always in our movies. Like, it should be a big deal that there's not a gay couple on this show, or there's not a black person on this show, or there's not a Latino person on the show. Like, now if the story needs it, then if the story's written around it or written for it, yeah, then do it. But if it's not needed, it's not needed. You know, what does it matter? This is like doing that in Star Wars. Who cares if the person is straight or gay? Like, what does that have to do with galactic takeovers? Nothing. So anyways, thank you guys for joining me on this show. I really appreciate that. Kenda, make sure you like and subscribe. All my social medias, that's Chris Conscious, that's the Wiley Life, that's Speed Music Radio, and also Cypher on the Block. You can find me on all of those. You don't have to subscribe to all, but I would like if you do subscribe to all. I have a Patreon account. That's Wiley Life at Patreon, patreon.com/Wiley Life. Please go ahead and if you support my show. I also have a store. You can get t-shirts, you can get mugs, like you can get my Feel Me, woo, or you can get my We Out Here in the Street shirt. And I have a lot of other hoodies and stuff coming. I got my Get Big Elite stuff. If you guys are into fitness and workout, very nice things that you guys can support the show by purchasing. Excuse me, that was a nasty burp. So, hey, I appreciate you guys. And until next time, we out here in these streets.